Welcome to you all. Today we are here to discuss about NIFT exam paper. So yesterday NIFT, the season's last exam is over. So now we have our team discussing about NIFT question paper in detail. To discuss about GAT part, we have with us Mr. Shwetank Srivastava. He has done his masters from IIT Roorkee. To discuss the CAT part, we have with us Mr. Abhinay Gupta. He has done his bachelor's from NIFT and master's from NID in lifestyle accessory design. Hello, sir.
Hello,
So,
ma'am.
how are you all?
Fine, ma'am. What about you?
Fine. So many of the students has come to you about the paper discussion. So how was it?
Mm.
How was the review in short?
About my section, GAT, if I do talk about that one, I have felt that the paper was a bit moderate level. Um, the English, general awareness, and logical reasoning was as per the expectation. There were a few surprising thing into this logical reasoning section a bit, and quant was literally a bit surprising one. So we'll discuss about that one in detail later.
Yes, Abhinay sir. So Abhinay sir will be explaining the whole CAT part. Over to you, Abhinay sir.
Hello, ma'am, and thank you for inviting and conducting this session, right? So, hello, everyone. What we'll discuss NIFT exam question papers, right, in detail. So, it was a moderate paper. It was not something which is new. This we have been practicing in classes also. As expected, it had creative questions, visualization questions, right, and realistic rendering question as well, right? So, we will go one by one, right? So if we see the initial part, so the criteria which will be based for your evaluation according to the questions which have come, right? So it is a creative evaluation, right? So the creative thinking is being judged, okay? Then your visualization and rendering skills are going to be judged, your observation qualities, your time management according to the time they have provided, aesthetic values, and communication of your idea through your drawings, okay? So if we see the question one, it says design lightning equipment for any one of the following. This question was for 40 marks, which holds the like maximum weightage which they have in one question, right? It required a good understanding of drawing and also your concept. Okay. So the personalities which they are giving here is an embroider or book lover to read in bed, makeup artist, right? So lighting equipment can be anything from a table lamp to a wall fixture to any other kind of fixture as well, right? The approach for this question was more of theme and inspiration based plus problem solving, right? So it was not just that we solve the problem and we just get away with it. So if you take the part of theme and inspiration, that we can get inspired from some kind of embroidery, some kind of elements which are there such as needle and thread, okay? The another part is problem solving according to the user, that how we can understand, okay, what will be the particular this particular approach in terms of okay, if I take something which is an embroider, right? So I need to see what kind of problems this person will have and how creatively I can solve, right, and make an appropriate solution, keeping in mind the aesthetics and also the inspiration part of it, right? So inspiration part, as I said, it can get inspired from the different kind of embroideries from India, or it can be inspired from the elements of thread and needle as well. Okay. The solution which we have created involves problem solving approach more. That is also something which is interesting to see in NIFT exam. Okay. So this solution is referred as or called as Flexora, right? So the theme and inspiration part is not included now. So theme and inspiration part can be included in terms of a particular motor pattern or a print design over this product. Okay. So the product is a fixable portable lamp. Okay. Now what happens? The inspiration comes from something which is more of chikankari work, right? So chikankari work happens on a wooden frame which is called adda. Okay. So what you require is that a fixing mechanism which can fix on a wooden log, right? So they have this particular frame log which is shown here in this example, right, in the drawing. So it has a screw based mechanism which is acting like a clamp, right? The body of the lamp is something which is more of an attachment of spherical parts, right, which can be rotated and movable on different axes, right? So when you are actually working in zardozi work or chicken curry work, right, so you can actually rotate and actually get this particular product in the specific area. Okay, for the light intensity, that is the third point which we are considering here, is this light can be rotatable and you can fix the intensity and the focus of light, right? Apart from that, the product can also have theme and inspiration part, where I'm mostly planning of colors, patterns of or motive for particular embroidery. Other approaches can be not this mechanical. This is very mechanical approach, if you see, right? This is more focused in terms of the other college approaches which we have already done, right? So you can include theme and inspiration approaches. The second question, if we see, this is something which is based on realistic rendering. Okay, so what they are saying, draw and render any one of the following. This was for 30 marks. So any one of the following theme they have given as your favorite content on the phone screen, your teacup in a serving tray, your hands holding a book while reading. Okay. The approach for this question is something which demands an understanding of object drawing, composition, realistic visualization, and rendering skills, right? So this is a realistic visualization question where your object drawing and composition skills are also going to be taken care of, right? So if you say your favorite content on the phone screen, right? So it requires an understanding of maybe you are holding the phone, right? And you are seeing something or scrolling something with both the hands or one hand, right? You can have maybe a cooking video which is playing on, and you can draw that particular screen in the scene which you are seeing there. In the background, we can add maybe the tiles or maybe the sofa view. Bit of the view on the background will be visible, right? So that goes in terms of how you have imagined that particular scenario and realistic visualization, right? Similarly, your teacup in a serving tray. So it can be maybe a coffee table where the tray is kept. Then you might see the flower vase a bit. Maybe somebody's hand is actually approaching. Maybe on the tray there are biscuits or something else is also kept, right? Maybe alongside the flower vase there is also a short view of something which is your books or something like that, right? So it becomes more like a composition. You have to understand the place where this place will be and how the things will be visible, right? So if you just do something which is more of a teacup, a hand holding teacup, or just show the tray with the teacup, that is also fine. But if you add something which is extra, right, that is plus for you to get marks. Okay. The third one is your hand holding a book while reading, right? So you can also similarly draw and imagine the background here as well. And it will depend. So they are saying that it's render, right? So they have not specified that it has to be color render or it has to be a black and white render, right? So there is a flexibility that we can do a color render as well. Okay. So probable solution is this. The background I have not added here. But as I explained, we can also put the background and complete the scene. We go to the third question. Third question was something which is a mix of color grid plus pattern design, right? So it it was based on how we interpret the question properly, right? So a lot of people will only go for color grid. A lot of people will try to include a pattern as well, right? So both approaches are fine. It is a matter of how do you portray this particular theme which they have given, and that has to justify. Okay. So the first, it is saying draw a grid of 6 inch by 6 inch, right? So you have to create a 6 inch by 6 inch box. Then you have to divide this box into 2 boxes into 9 squares. Okay. What you have to do is pattern with shapes, colors, and texture, right? right? So if you include all three, that becomes really, really interesting. If you have done two also, that is good. So this can go into both approaches. It can go into something which is more realistic approach, that you draw a motif, then you create a pattern. Or if you go into very color grid kind of direction, that you take into abstraction, that okay, I want to represent Indian food, I get inspired from the flavors, or I get inspired from a particular state cuisine, right? I can approach that way as well. Or I can take maybe a particular state or particular food, and I can draw icons and put that into more like a fabric kind of print as well. Because they are saying pattern, right? So pattern can be interpreted in both direction. Okay. The first theme is something which is Indian food, right? So we can get inspired from the colors of Indian food, and also the kind of flavors which we get, and we can put that into abstraction. Or otherwise you can take the elements of Indian food. Japanese garden, right? So this was more about the particular mood or feeling, or you can also maybe take elements which are Japanese there in terms of the flowers, or something which is more like their temples, or something which is related to Japan, right? Or if you're not sure about the element, we can go into abstraction as well. Right? The third theme was something which is fashion show in Paris, right? So fashion show in Paris becomes something which is more like, okay, what will be this particular approach, that how this Paris fashion is different from the other part of the world, right? So they are more into more classic ways of understanding things, right? So you can choose the colors this particular way, right? If you want to take the elements, that is fine. Otherwise, that can go into directly abstraction, and we can have the colors which are inspired from Paris, and lines and shapes and texture can be something which is more classic. So again, approaches color grid plus pattern design, right? So the approach I have taken for the solution is more about, I take the inspiration from something which is South India, right? I am not taking very realistic approach. I am taking something which is more of 2D way of understanding the composition of the flavors of South India there, right? So I have used the green and white, and also the curries and the spiciness which comes here, right? Now, this question also required something which is your concept note, right? So concept note may we have to explain that why we are taking certain colors or certain lines, certain texture or certain shapes, right? So where we can explain our idea in a better way. So this is it from my side, and all three questions, right? Opportunities and possibilities are obviously endless, right? So whatever approach you have taken, evaluate it, what you have done, right? And focus on your second round.
Thank you very much, Abhinay sir. It was great explanation.
Yes.
Over to you, Shwetank sir.
Thank
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir. So let's talk about the GET section. As I already mentioned in the very beginning, that the level of the GET, I would say, was a bit moderate, and most of the section was as per the expectation. Whatever we were expecting, it was similar as like that one. Okay, like especially the general awareness section and the English section. Okay, there was a bit surprising element into the logical reasoning section, but it was very simple and very easy. And as per the course curriculum of the BRDS, it was similar like that one. Okay, so moving ahead into the same thing and discussing about this. So we already do know that it's a 30% total weightage of GET section into the final result. And the other details are the same as already been mentioned into this NIFT information brochure, that there will be 100 questions, 1 mark for correct question, 0.25 for negative, and 0 for not attempted. Okay, let me be very clear about this thing. A lot of students in the morning were asking me about the same thing, like, sir, if we have attempted a more number of questions, so how that is going to impact us into the exam. We already had the discussion about the same things during our classes, during our revision period, that how we have to tackle this negative things and how we have to have get this habit of skipping the questions if it is not required. So whatever is already have been done, so let's not get into that thing and directly discuss the paper. So difficulty level moderate, time allotted 2 hours. Okay, now talking about the content of the paper section wise. So the first section was English comprehension. There were two passages like the last year, 2025, 24, and 5 questions were there in each of single passage. It was very easy, as mentioned by the student, and very straightforward questions were there from the RCs. Yeah, I would say one thing we have seen in the past 2 or 3 years into the NIFT exam that they are with every single year they are decreasing the number of questions of RC. Okay, so we were expecting the same thing that there are going to be max to max three passages, but they have limited themselves up to the two passages only. And they were very medium-sized passages, so very easy section for the students and very scoring section. Talking about English verbal ability, so 30 questions, easy to moderate level, based onto the vocabulary, some questions based onto the direct and indirect speech, active passive voice, spelling test, idioms, phrases, one word substitution, antonym, synonym, fill in the blanks. Such type of the questions were there in the English verbal ability. So if I do talk about the whole English section, 40 mark section, I would say it was easy to moderate, where the comprehensions were very easy while some of the questions of vocabulary were a bit moderate for the students. Okay. Talking about quantitative aptitude, as I said that this was something which was a bit surprising and difficult for the students because they introduced the questions based onto the geometry, coordinate geometry, and the graph this year. Definitely, there were a lot of number of questions as per our dedicated format and the things we had discussed into the revision, like questions based on the time and distance, questions based on the time and work, profit loss, average, percentage, simple interest, compound interest, mixture irrigation. Okay, so similar questions were there. But introduction of coordinate geometry was a bit favorable for the students who are from the science background or who do have maths as a subject. It was a bit favorable for them. But those students who are not from that background, definitely they must have faced a bit difficulty to solve these questions. But I would say, as I told them into the revision class, do not waste your time onto those questions with which we are not that much comfortable or not sure of getting marks. So I would say definitely if a student had followed those instructions, they definitely must have left these questions if they were not able to solve that one. So I would put the quantitative aptitude section in moderate to difficult. Okay, I would never say that it was easy, as most of the students from the who are opting to get into the design field have a bit kind of, I will not say difficulty, but yes, a bit reluctant to solve the questions of the quantitative aptitude. They are a bit kind of scared from the mathematics and quantitative aptitude. So definitely, they must have felt this portion a bit difficult. Talking about reasoning, so non-verbal reasoning was a very surprising element this year. So far in the NIFT, non-verbal reasoning had never been asked prominently. Okay, but this year there were questions based on the mirror images, water images, some questions on series, analogy were there. Okay, but none of the students said that that was a difficult question. They were very simple, very straightforward questions. So this was one of the easiest section for the exam, and that's why I said most of the students that if you have to gain the confidence for the paper, you should start your paper with the logical reasoning section because it is one of the easiest time. What I should say, you can save some of your time also into this section, and it will give you a good confidence for the paper, which is going to be there into the coming next 1 hour, 1.5 hour, even in the CET section. So it's a good to start with the reasoning. So I said that with the student, and a lot of students said that they had started their paper with the logical reasoning section. So easiest portion for the exam. So I would say, as per our expectation, question onto the blood relations, setting arrangement, direction sense, coding, decoding, questions onto the simple mathematical operations were there. So this was easy section. And talking about general awareness or GK section over here. So it was easy to moderate. Okay. Again, after around 3 to 4 years, they have reintroduced the fashion GK. Okay. They have asked the questions based on to the beauty pageants. They have asked the questions based on to the brands and brand ambassadors. So, and other sections of the general awareness was also similar as we discussed about the static GK, current affairs. Okay. So general awareness, I would also say not very difficult, but those definitely who had prepared this section very well, it would be easy for them or easy to moderate for them for this general awareness section. So my overall take onto this paper of GET section was that it was moderate and definitely not going to make any false able to score 60, 65 plus or even 70. I would consider that to be finest score to get good ranks into the exam. And best of luck for every student who had prepared for this paper, and best of luck for your student situation test, which is coming to be there into the next month. Okay, so that's it from my side, ma'am. Uh,
Thank you so much, sir. It was great to know about
Thank
the
you.
paper pattern and everything. Thank you. Next round is NIFT situation test. So we are launching the batches for NIFT situation test. So I'll brief about the batches that we are starting soon. So here we have highest number of rankers for NIFT. Till now, 12,320 students from BRDS went to NIFT, that is National Institute of Fashion Technology. So every year we are increasing our result. When we talk about this year's result of NIFT, so there are 2,181 students who went to NIFT, and out of top 10, all the students were from Bhavarathor Design Studio. So 224 students in top 100. If you see the results of NID and IIT also, is NID, there were more than 262 students who qualified. Top 10 ranks are from BRDS. IIT, UCEED qualified students were 1,405, and there were 96 students who got selected in IIT. So what programs we have? We have an evaluation test online learning portal. So online learning portal is that you will get a link in which there are some pre-recorded videos and a workbook. So 20 years NIFT original papers and 10 mock test papers, like what kind of questions can come and how to handle the material. Solution of 15 year situation test papers, 50 situation test practice exercise, 100 material handling, video lessons, and many ebooks. One-to-one interaction with NIFT alumni, because if you are opting for online learning portal, you will get a 5-day free situation test, live classes, whether it's online or offline from BRDS. We have our home coaching pack also. So home coaching pack is a set of material also inside, from which you can make 20 artwork. Here you will get a pre-recorded video link as well as the material. So again, if you opt for home coaching pack, then also 5-day free workshop you can get from BRDS, online or offline. If you want to just start with the preparation now, we are starting 5 days free workshop. So 5 days free workshop we have, and then you can enroll for the full program, that is for 1 month. For more information, you can visit our website, rathordesign.com. You can call us on 9825057598. For more updates, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you very much, everyone.